Alright, welcome back, class. This week I'm going to go over the material in the packet for the week of March 30th. Instead of going through and giving you all the answers, what I want to do is take some notes. Yes, we're going to go over some notes. These notes are really going to help you solve all the problems on the packet, okay? So feel free to pause it, take time to write down the notes, and really gain some understanding to help you get through the packet. So first we're going to go over the stuff about circles. Okay, we're going to have some key terms. Our key terms are going to be diameter, radius, circumference, area, and pi. Okay, I'm going to talk about these in just a second. So for diameter is a straight line that passes through the center of a circle. If you see I have a circle here, this is the diameter. Okay, it goes all the way through from one edge to the other, goes through the center. The second word is radius. Radius is a straight line from the center of a circle and it goes to the edge. Alright? Circumference of a circle is the perimeter. So the perimeter, if you remember from other geometry lessons, is the outside of a shape. So for this circle, the perimeter is all the way around it. Okay, so that's perimeter. And area is the space that a shape takes up. Okay, so that's all of this area in here, this space that is taken up by the circle. Everything in this circle is its area. Okay, and the last key term you need to remember is pi. Sometimes it's written pi, sometimes it's the symbol, but it's really just the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. So it's the relationship between the circumference and the diameter. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but most of the time in math class we're going to be using a calculator, and we're going to use the numbers 3.14. That is the abbreviated version or the rounded version of pi. Okay. The formulas that you will need to remember or need to write down are these two formulas. Okay? Area equals pi times radius squared. That's not radius times 2. That means radius times radius. Okay? Circumference is 2 times pi times r. That's the formula that they put in the packet, but I prefer this formula for circumference. Circumference equals pi times diameter. And the reason why I prefer that is because it helps me remember it with this little thing that I have, and I like to share with you guys. So remember, cherry pies delicious, apple pies are too. So that goes exactly with the formulas. C equals pi times diameter, cherry pies delicious, cherry pie delicious, apple pies are too. Okay? So we're going to remember those things, and also some helpful information is that radius plus radius is diameter, and diameter divided by 2 is the radius. Okay, now it's time for us to get into some example problems. Don't forget, you can rewind and pause all you want. Okay? So we're going to have a few problems that we're going to go over. So first of all, we are to find the area and the circumference, and we're going to use pi is 3.14. Okay? So for this problem, it tells us the circle, it has a radius of 7. So radius equals 7. Alright, so I can go ahead and do my area right there. Area equals pi times radius squared. What I'm going to type in the calculator is 3.14 multiplied by my radius, which is 7 squared. So when I go into my calculator, I'm going to type it out. I'll do 3, can you see that? 3.14 times 7, and I press this little button right here, this little squared button, and puts the 2 up there. Enter, and I get my answer. And it came out to be, so my area is equal to 153.86. Now I gotta look at my label. Inches. An area is a space that fills up. It's not a straight line, so it is going to be inches squared. Okay, and that's my answer. I can circle it. Next, I need to find the circumference. Circumference equals pi times diameter. Uh-oh, this only gives me radius. I don't know what diameter is. But we have that helpful information, so we can do radius plus radius equals my diameter. So 7 plus 7 is 14. So now I know my diameter is 14. I can plug it into the formula. So hold on, diameter is 14 inches. Now I can plug this into the formula. 3.14 times 14. So if I go ahead and do that in the calculator, 3.14 times 14. 43.96. So my circumference equals 43.96. Okay, you're going to have problems just like that on your assignment in your packet. So make sure we take note of that and figure out how to do things. Okay, next one, they give us diameter. Same concept, except this time we're not starting with radius, we're starting with diameter. So let's go for it. Pi times radius squared, but I need to know what my radius is, so I'm going to take 6, which is my diameter. I'm going to divide it by 2. It gives me my radius is 3, so I know my radius is 3. Okay, so now I can plug it in my formula. 3.14 times 3 squared. If I plug that in, 3.14 times, what was it? 3 squared. 28.26. So my area equals 28.26. Now I need to do my circumference. Oh, circumference is pi times diameter, and I know what diameter is, so I can just go ahead and type that in. 3.14 times 6. So 3.14 times 6. 18.84. So my circumference equals 18.84. I just realized I forgot to label all these. Circumference, this one was centimeters. So it's a straight line, or it's a line, it's not a measure of area, so it's just centimeters. I can circle that. Area, it's also centimeters, but because it's area, it's centimeters squared. Circle that, and I forgot this one up here. This one was inches. My circumference is 43.96 inches. Circle your answer. Okay? Alright, last ones. Well, not last ones. 3 more problems on the for circles, I think. Okay. So find the area or the circumference, whatever it's asking you for, and you're going to round to the nearest hundredth. Okay? On this problem, they gave you circumference. So that means you're going to find the area. So if my circumference is 76, I need to figure out what my area is. Okay? To do that, we need to just break down the problem. So we know the formula for circumference is circumference equals pi times diameter. Okay, so we can type in 76 is equal to pi times diameter. Now I want to figure out what diameter is, so we're going to do our inverse operations, right? So to get rid of multiplication, we're going to do division. We're going to divide by pi on both sides. Now that's going to tell me exactly what my diameter is. Okay, so I can do 76 divided by 3.14. And it gives me a big number, 24.20 yada yada. Okay? But this says up here, round to the nearest hundredth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to round that to the nearest hundredths. Tenths, hundredths. So I'm just going to put 24.20. Really, we don't even need the 0, but we're going to put it in there anyway. Okay? Alright, now I have the diameter. I can figure out what radius is. Right? because diameter divided by 2 equals my radius. So I'm going to do 24.20 divided by 2. 24.20 divided by 2, and I get my radius is 12.1 or 12.10. Either way is fine. Okay. Now we can plug in this number for radius into our area formula. We know that area is equal to pi times radius squared. So we're going to type in area equals 3.14 times 12.10 squared. Okay, this is multiplication here, and these are decimal points. Okay, so 3.14 times 12.10 squared. Okay, press enter, and I get this another big number, 459.7274. I'm going to round that to the nearest hundredth, and I'm going to say that my area is equal to 459.7, and that 2 is where I'm rounding. But this is a bully. This is the 7's a bully, so it rounds it up to a 3.73. And this is feet squared. And there's my answer. Alright. This one is a little bit more difficult because it gives us the area and we're supposed to find the circumference. Okay? So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to work backwards and figure this out. So I know my area formula is area equals pi times radius squared. I have my area as 38.5. Okay, and we're going to set that equal to pi times radius squared. Draw my line, do my inverse operations. So instead of multiplying by pi, let me zoom in for you. Alright, so instead of multiplying by pi, I need to do the opposite. So I'm going to be dividing by pi on both sides. So what that really is 38.5 divided by 3.14. So 38.5 divided by 3.14, and that comes out to be 12.26 blah 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 blah. But I don't want all that. Round it to the nearest hundredth, so I'm going to have 12.26 is equal to radius squared. Now the question is, how do you get rid of this squared? The opposite or inverse of squared is going to be the square root of something. So what I have to do is the opposite of squared. So it's called square rooting. And you just do this line like this. That is the symbol for square rooting. And I need to square root both sides. And then that will give me radius by itself. And then to figure this out in the calculator, what I'm going to do is 12.26. Actually, sorry. Second. You press the second button, and then this your squared button, and it puts this little square root symbol on your calculator. Square root of 12.26. And it gives me 3.501 blah blah blah. But I don't want to have all that. It says round to the nearest hundredth up there, so that's what I'm going to do. So I get my answer to be 3.50 is equal to my radius. Now that I have my radius, I can figure out my circumference, right? So circumference is equal to pi times diameter. And that's our radius. Two of those would be a diameter, right? So radius plus radius equals my diameter. 3.5 plus 3.5 is 7. So I'm going to do my circumference is equal to 3.14 times 7. Okay, so type that in, 3.14 times 7, and we get our answer of circumference equals 21.98, and this is feet again, so I'm just going to write feet. Now we're done with that problem. Okay, last problem that I'm going to help you guys with for circles is the stretch your thinking problem. Okay, I'm not doing the problem from the workbook, obviously, but I'm going to do one that is similar. Okay, it gives us this shape that has this circle with a rectangle inside of it. Tells us this dotted line is 5, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay, this dotted line is stretching from one side of the circle all the way to the other side. So that means it's a diameter. So I know that my diameter is equal to 5. Okay, so that means my radius is half of that. My radius would be 2.5. Now I can find the area of the circle. Area of the circle is going to be pi times radius squared. So in this case, it will be 3.14 times 2.5 squared. So let's type that in. 3.14 times 2.5 squared. 19. Can you see it? 19.625. So I'm just going to write that whole thing down this time. I'm going to say 19.625. That's going to be my area of the circle. Okay? Now it says area of the rectangle. Area of the rectangle is just base times the height. In this case, my base is 4, my height is 3. I can do that. So 4 times 3, area of the rectangle is 12, and these are all centimeters squared. Okay, circle these two answers, and my last problem is the area of the shaded region. So to figure out the area of just the shaded region, I'm going to have to do some subtraction. So I'm going to take 19.625, which is the area of the entire circle, right? 19.625, and I'm going to take away or subtract the area of the rectangle. So subtract 12. Okay, do my subtraction, and I get my answer to be 7.625. And that is the area of the shaded region. Okay? 7.625 centimeters squared. Alright. Hopefully that will help you with all of your circle stuff. In your notes or in your packet